So I will be using one of these tinsel hats that I got from the Dollar Tree. I'm also going to be using one roll of this polypro mesh. This is the 10" by 10 yards. This one is orange, and I did get this from Hobby Lobby at 50% off. I'll also be using this burlap polypro mesh, and this is also the 10" by 10 yards. And I did also purchase this from Hobby Lobby and got it for 50% off. I'm also going to be using some pipe cleaners, and I think I got these from Hobby Lobby, but you can also get them from the Dollar Tree. And then I'm also going to be using some zip ties, which you can get from the Dollar Tree, but mine I did purchase from Walmart. So these are the 8" zip ties. Alright, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to start taking this witch hat apart. So I'm going to be removing all of these, like the little buckle here. I'm going to take that off because I will not need it. I'm also going to be removing the boo wording here. And then I'm also going to be taking off all of the tinsel. And I will also be removing the hanger that comes on the witch hat. Here is the witch hat now that I've gotten all of the tinsel taken off of it and I removed the hanger. Next, I'm going to be adding my own hanger. So I'm going to take one of my pipe cleaners. I'm just going to fold it in half. And then I'm going to turn my witch hat over. And I'm going to find a place where I want my hanger to go. And I think that I kind of want it to go... I don't want to go all the way up here to the top because when you go to hang it, you'll see the hanger and it could possibly make it hang crooked. So I think I'm just going to start right here. I'm just going to put my hanger. So I'm going to place my pipe cleaner right through there, and I am just going to be attaching it on this middle cross member right here. So I'm just going to twist it 3 or 4 times. Like that. And then with the legs, I'm going to bring them up. And then I'm going to twist the ends of them together. At this point, I can either cut off the remainder of this pipe cleaner here that I've twisted, or I could just fold it over and then twist it onto the pipe cleaner there on the side here. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go ahead and twist this on over. Okay, so now I have a spot where I can hang it. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to be wiring this. Now I'm just going to be adding pipe cleaners to the brim of the hat. So I'm going to be adding a total of 13 pipe cleaners. And there really is no particular order to put these on here. You just want to make sure that when you go to add your mesh that it does make it nice and full across the brim. So what I typically do is I'll take a pipe cleaner, just fold it in half. This is just to make sure I get it, pretty even. And on each end of the brim of the hat, I'm going to be putting a pipe cleaner. So I'm just going to take my pipe cleaner. You guys can see. So it's right here at the very tip of this brim. And that's where I'm going to attach my first pipe cleaner. So I'm just going to twist this on here about 3 times. And I'm going to take another pipe cleaner and I'm going to do the same thing. Next, I'm going to take another pipe cleaner, fold it in half, and I'm going to place my pipe cleaner where this middle cross member is, and I will be wiring these two, get you guys where you can see this, these 2 bars. So you'll have the bottom part of the brim, then you'll have this second bar over here. So I will be wiring these two together, but I want to get it close to this cross member that's on the bottom here. So this is where I have wired it. So I will go ahead and do another one. Same thing. I'm going to go over to this next cross member. Do the same thing. Wire the bottom two rows here. Now I don't want to wire these together too tightly because if you do, it will snap. So make sure that you do it tight, but not too tight. So there is that one. Now we will have a total of 7 pipe cleaners on the bottom and then 6 going across the top. So I'm going to go ahead and do another one. Next, I'm going to come over here to this side to this cross member here on the end. So it looks like that. Do the same thing to the other side. So this cross member over here. So that is what it's looking like so far. I'm going to continue. Now I'm going to move up to the top. So right now I have 4 pipe cleaners going across the bottom. And then the 2 on the corner I'm going to count as the top pipe cleaners for the top row. So for the top row we've got 2 already. So I'm going to go ahead and put another pipe cleaner just opposite of the first one that we put. I'm going to put it across on the top. So same thing. I'm wiring the 2 top rows together. I hope you guys can see this. This one right here, and then this bottom row right here. I'm going to wire these 2 together. So there is what the top looks like so far. Do another one. I'm just going to go opposite of what we did on the bottom row. Do the same thing across the top. Do another one. Now this one I'm going to place across the top where this cross member is. So this would be the second cross member. You got the first one here and then the second one. So I'm going to go ahead and just wire that on that first row. Another one. So now I'm going to go over here. I'm going to do the same thing, but on the opposite side. So where this one is on the end, I'm just going to wire the pipe cleaner on to the other side. another one. Now this one. So far we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 6 across the top. So our top is done. So now I'm going to go ahead and put the remaining 3 pipe cleaners on the bottom. So I'm going to go, I think probably about right here. So on this second cross member here is where I'll wire this one. Do another one. I'm going to put this one over here because you can kind of see where there's, you know, a pretty good gap right here, and I want to make sure that my mesh does fill in the bottom brim here. So I'm going to go ahead and add a pipe cleaner right here. And then the last one, I'm just going to figure out where I think I might need it. So wherever it looks like there is a, you know, a pretty wide space, then that is where I'm going to add this. So now you can put these in any pattern that you want. It's totally up to you what you want to do. Just whatever looks best for you is where, you know, you want to put them. So, and then also as you're going along, if you decide that you need to add more, that's perfectly fine. Go ahead and add more if it's not full enough. If it's too full, you can take some away. You can adjust these to however you want. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to go ahead and add one sort of right here in the middle. Okay. So far here is what I have. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add one more pipe cleaner. So I'm going to make this 14 pipe cleaners that you're going to need. Like I said, if I decide that I want to add more or take away or whatever, then I will as the video goes on. But I think I need at least one more on here. So I'm going to be putting one kind of right here where the bend of the hat is, of the brim there. I just want to make sure that my brim is full and there's not any bare spots. Okay, so now I have the frame all wired up. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to be wrapping the top of the hat with my burlap mesh. So to do this, I'm going to use a zip tie, and I'm just going to turn the hat over. Then I'm going to be attaching it up here to this first cross member here. So I'm going to go ahead and slide my zip tie up under that first cross member there. So I'm just going to leave it there to hold it in place. Then I'm going to take my roll of burlap here, and I'm just going to gather it up on the ends. And then the spot where I've gathered it up, I'm just going to be zip tying this to the wreath frame. So to do this, I'm just going to take my little bundle here and I'm going to face it going down, and then take my zip tie, just fasten my zip tie on there. Now I don't want to get this too tight because I don't want to snap the frame, just tight enough that it does kind of hold it there for me. I'm going to go ahead and snip off that zip tie. Then all I'm going to do is take my mesh and I'm just going to start wrapping it around the top of the hat. So I do kind of want to make sure that I get the tip of this covered as best as I can. Now it's not going to be perfect, and that's okay. So to wrap it, I'm just going to take each end of my mesh here, so you have the edges here, and I'm going to kind of tuck them up underneath. So I'm kind of folding them into the middle, and that's just to keep the edges from sticking out. So because I want it to look, you know, I want to have a nice clean finished edge here. So I'm just going to start wrapping this around. Now you want to pull fairly tight, but not too tight. Like I said, these frames are, you know, pretty flimsy, so they can snap. So I'm just going to continue wrapping this around the hat and trying to keep those ends there tucked up underneath in the middle. I can get this in the frame here, guys, sorry. So I'm just wrapping this around here. Now you want to watch your hanger in the back here, kind of keep it out of the way until you get to it. Now I've come to where my hanger is, so I'm just going to kind of pull it up here and kind of hold it out of the way as I continue to wrap this. Okay, so I'm starting to get closer to the bottom of the hat, to where the brim is. So I'm just going to continue on wrapping like I have been. And I'm just taking, when I get to where this brim is right here, where it kind of comes down into that bend right there, I am just taking my mesh and this kind of sliding it down in between right there. And then just continue wrapping. Okay, so I have come to the bottom of the hat, or to the brim. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut off the end here. Then I'm going to take another zip tie, and I'm just going to attach this to the back, and where I'm going to attach it is kind of right here where the brim, where one of the little bars going across here is. So that's where I will be attaching it with the zip tie. So I'm just going to slide my zip tie up underneath there. Oops. Maybe if I can get it to cooperate with me. Up. I'm going to lay my mesh right there, and then just secure my zip tie. I want to get it fairly tight, but not too tight, just enough to secure that there. And then I'm going to go ahead and snip off the end of the zip tie. Okay, so for my deco mesh, I cut 7 of the orange and 7 of the burlap to 20 inches long. Okay, so to make the ruffle that I'm going to be doing for this is, I don't even know if there's a technical term for it. I think I've heard it called the folded ruffle. So I don't really know for sure. But so anyway, this is what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to take one of the 20-inch pieces of mesh that we got. I'm going to unroll it, and I'm just going to weight down the end here. And then I'm just going to do the ruffle technique. And if you don't know what that is, all it is taking my mesh. I'm going to find the center of my mesh, and then I'm going to walk my fingers up the center, and then I'm grabbing the mesh and just pulling it toward me as I go along. And this will make a sort of like a little, I don't know, bow tie type, or a little bow type ruffle. So once I get to this point, now this is where the folded part comes in. So I've got to this point, so now I'm just going to take it and I'm going to fold it up. So I'm just kind of folding it in half. So there we have that. And then you will take a zip tie, and you're just going to secure this zip tie around the base of the ruffle. And I'm only going to go down probably about an inch, a knuckle's length down with the zip tie. I'm going to put my zip tie to the side of the ruffle there. And then I'm just going to snip off the end of the zip tie. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of fluff this out a bit. So there is the first ruffle. Now I'll do it again and show you on the orange one. So the same thing, you're just going to unroll your piece of mesh, lay it down, and then I'm just going to find the center and then just scrunch it up and pull it toward me, forming this ruffle. So that it looks sort of like a bow. And while I have it like that, I'm just going to take it and fold it in half. I'm folding it up. And I'm going to take a zip tie. I'm just going to secure the end of it with a zip tie. And then I'm going to snip off the end of the zip tie. And then kind of just fluff it out a little bit. Okay, so there is the little, I don't know, bended ruffle, I guess is what you want to call it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go through and I'm going to do this to every piece of my mesh that I have. And once I get these all put into little bundles, then I will come back and show you how we put them on the wreath. Okay, so now I have all my little ruffles all ready to go. So now I'm going to start adding them to my pipe cleaners. Now you can put these in any order that you choose to. I think I'm going to go ahead and start with the burlap first. So I'm going to put it, I'm going to be starting up here at the tip. So all I'm doing is opening the pipe cleaner legs. I'm going to place my little bundle here down in the center. And where the zip tie is right here, I want my pipe cleaner to come up behind that. So now I'm just going to twist this on here. So there is the first one. Then I'm going to move on and I'm going to do an orange one. So I'm just going to alternate the burlap with the orange. So the orange one I'm going to go ahead and put down on this next pipe cleaner here. This is on the bottom row. So I'm just opening the pipe cleaner legs. I'm going to place my bundle down in the middle of that pipe cleaner. And I'm taking the pipe cleaner and I'm going up behind where the zip tie is here. And I'm just going to give that 2 or 3 little twists. Now you can fluff as you go or wait until you're all done and then fluff it all out. So next I'm going to go ahead and do one more and show you guys. I'm going to take one of the burlap bundles here. I'm going to go to the next pipe cleaner over. Open the legs of it. I'm going to place the bundle down in the middle of the pipe cleaner, keeping the pipe cleaner behind the zip tie. Okay, so there that is. So I'm going to go ahead and continue doing this all the way around, putting my mesh in, and then as soon as I'm done, I'll come right back. Okay, so here is what it's looking like so far now that I have all of my little ruffles in. Now at this point you do see some fraying. I don't know if it's showing up on camera or not, but you can either trim that off or you can just leave it like it is because it is a scarecrow and they are kind of frayed. So that's totally up to you, whatever you want to do, if you want to leave them or cut off some of the frays. I will probably go back in and cut some of these off. Okay, so now I'm going to move on and I'm going to be making a bow. I'm going to be using 6 ribbon. The first one is this ribbon that I picked up from Dollar Tree last year. It is the 2.5 inch by 9 foot, and it is this sort of plaid pattern. The next one is this. This is the Ribbon Boutique. This is from Hobby Lobby. I purchased it when it was 50% off, and it is the burlap with the sunflowers. I'm also going to be using this ribbon is the 2.5 inch by 9 feet, and this is also from Dollar Tree last year. So it's this orange burlap material. I'm also going to be using some of this. This is from Walmart. This is the 2.5 inch by 9 feet, and this one has the little truck and pumpkins pattern on it. And this is a really nice ribbon. It's sort of I don't know, like a linen type material. So that's really nice. The next one is this. This is also the Ribbon Boutique from Hobby Lobby. Again, I purchased it when it was 50% off. And this is the denim ribbon. And this one is 1.5 inches by 3 yards. And then the last ribbon that I'm going to be using for my bow is also from the Ribbon Boutique from Hobby Lobby. This is the 1.5 inch by 4 yards, and this one is like a green burlap type material. So I'm going to go ahead and move on and start making my bow. Okay, so I will be using my bow dabra for this, and I do have an affiliate link that I will link in the description box down below. So first I'm going to be dovetailing the end of my ribbon here, and to dovetail I'm just folding the ribbon in half, and then I'm going to cut at an angle from the folded end to the pointed end, and that makes the dovetail. So I think that I'm going to make my tails, I think I'm going to do 9 inches first. So 9-inch tails. If they're too long, I can always go back in and trim them down. So for my loops, I'm going to make 6-inch loops. To use this plaid ribbon from Dollar Tree. I'm going to dovetail the end of this one also. this, I'm going to make the same. Actually, I think I'm going to go ahead and do 8.5 inch tail on this one. So 8.5 inches. And the loops on this are going to be 5.5 inches. The next ribbon I'm going to use is this orange burlap ribbon from the Dollar Tree. Okay, same thing with it. I'm going to dovetail the end. And this one I'm going to make 8-inch tails. Let's see here, 8 inches. And this is going to be 5-inch loops. I've used this pumpkin ribbon with the truck that I got from Walmart. Same thing with it. I'm going to dovetail the end. This is going to be 7.5-inch tails. This will be 4.5-inch loops. Is going to be this green ribbon from Hobby Lobby. Go ahead and dovetail the end again. The 7-inch tail. And this will be a 4-inch loop. Last ribbon is the denim ribbon. I'll be dovetailing this one also. Also going to be 7-inch tails. Right there. And move my bar out of the way. Now, this ribbon is really thin. And I'm going to go ahead and make my loops also 4 inches. To grab my pipe cleaner, I'm going to take my pipe cleaner, I'm going to fold it in half to find the center. I'm going to go ahead and remove my bow. I'm just going to grab all of my ribbon together and pull up. Try and keep them all together. I'm going to add my pipe cleaner. And then I'm just going to give it 5 or 6 twists back here. It's nice and secure. Okay. So there's my bow so far. I'm going to go and fluff it up, and then I'm going to be adding it to my wreath. Now I'm going to be attaching this to the wreath. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the wreath here. I'm going to determine where I want to put my bow. I think I want to put it probably over here in this vicinity. So I'm going to take the pipe cleaners on the back here. I'm just going to feed this down through the mesh to the frame and then attach it to the frame. Turn it over on the back here, and I'm just going to secure it to the back. I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one pipe cleaner leg up over the frame here, just so that it is on there nice and secure and doesn't like flop around everywhere. So this will give it a little more of a hold. Okay. So now that I have that there, you can either cut off the legs of the pipe cleaner, or you can just twist them together and then just bend them over. So I like to just twist them around and then bend them over just to keep them from catching on anything or scratching the door. So there's that. I'm going to flip it back over. And then I'm going to go ahead and fluff out my bow just a little bit. And like I said, I will have it fluffed out more once I get the wreath completely done. Okay, so now my bow is on there. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to be taking some raffia, and this raffia I got from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to grab 3 or 4 strands here, and all I'm going to do is just kind of put them all together. It doesn't matter if they're the same length or not. But I'm just going to put, like, I don't know, get these little bundles together here. And then I'm going to go through and just start adding these to each pipe cleaner in my wreath here. So I'm just placing those down in the middle of that pipe cleaner and giving it 3 or 4 little twists. And then I have these raffia here. Now I'm going to go in and trim off some of the raffia. There we go. So there is what it's looking like so far. So I'm going to be doing this to each and every one of these pipe cleaners. Okay, so here's what it's looking like so far with the raffia all in there. So now what I'm going to do is, I don't think I'm going to be putting anything else into my pipe cleaners. So I'm just going to go through, twist my pipe cleaners really good, and then cut off the ends of the pipe cleaners. So to do that, I'll show you here. I'm just going to take this pipe cleaner here, move some of that raffia out of the way there. I'm going to go ahead and just twist this all together, probably about, I don't know, 4 or 5 times. Because I'm not going to be putting anything else in there. And then I'm just going to cut off the remainder of that pipe cleaner. And if it's sticking up, there's any sticking up, I'm just going to fold it over. So I'm going to do this to every one of the pipe cleaners. Okay, so now I'm going to make a little, sort of like a bow to go on the tip of the hat. So I'm going to be using a pipe cleaner. I'm also going to be using some of this mesh tubing from the Dollar Tree. This is the one that looks kind of like burlap. I'm also going to use some of the orange mesh tubing from the Dollar Tree. Some of this brown mesh tubing from the Dollar Tree. And then also some of the raffia, which is also from the Dollar Tree. Okay, so I've taken my mesh tubing and I am just lining up each color right next to each other with the ends being even across. And I'm also taking about 6 strands of the raffia and I'm just going to put these together. And what I'm going to do is measure out about a, I don't know, 2-inch tail or so. And then I'm just going to start making loops. So I want my loops to be about probably about 4 inches. Doesn't have to be perfect, just, you know, eyeball it. So about 3 or 4 inches. So there's one loop. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing to the other side. So there's 2. Got 2. And I'm going to go ahead and do one more here. And then one more on this side. So there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and measure down about 2 inches. Cut that off. Then I'm going to take my pipe cleaner. I'm going to fold my pipe cleaner in half. This is just to find the center. Go ahead and wrap my pipe cleaner around my bundle here. Twist it 3 or 4 times. Okay. So now I'm going to be adding this to our wreath. Either you can wire this onto the tip of the wreath here, the tip of the hat. You can either wire it through with your pipe cleaners, or what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my pipe cleaner off and then I'm going to be hot gluing the bow directly to the top of the hat. So all I'm going to do is make sure that my pipe cleaner is nice and twisted really good on the back here. And then I'm going to take my wire cutters and just cut off the remaining part of that pipe cleaner. Just going to kind of bend that over a little bit. And then I'm going to decide where I want to put this bow. And I know that I want it at the tip of my hat here. So I think I'll probably end up putting it right about, probably right about there. I may turn it this way. Kind of situate it however you want. You can kind of bend the mesh tubing and stuff around to make it a little more full. So I think I'm probably going to put it about right there. So I'm going to take some hot glue. I'm going to add quite a bit of hot glue on the back here. Okay. And then I'm just going to place this on the tip of the hat. I'm just going to hold that there until the glue sets up. Okay, so I've decided that I'm going to add a little raffia bow to my already made bow. Now, if you're making your bow and you want to go ahead and add raffia while you're making it, then that would probably be easier, but I decided at the last minute that that's what I wanted to do. So all I did was take a few strands of raffia, tied it in a bow, and now I'm just going to be hot gluing this down to the center of my bow. And place the raffia right there. So I'm going to let the raffia or the hot glue set up. Okay, so here is the bow so far with my little raffia bow in there. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add one of these sunflowers. I did get these from the Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to be using one of them. So I want to go ahead and pick out the one that looks the best. And I'm just going to pluck it off of the stem. And then I'm going to go ahead and kind of trim off this little back spot or back piece right here. I'm going to trim that down just a little bit. And then I'm going to be placing this right in the center of my bow. So probably right about there. I'm going to go ahead and add some hot glue. And then put this right there in the middle. Okay, so the last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add this little burlap patch. All I did was I cut a square off of some scrap burlap material that I had, and then I pulled some of the threads out to make it sort of frayed. And then I went in with some apple barrel paint, and I think it's Harvest Orange is the color, and I just painted the burlap. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to be hot gluing this to the hat, and I think I want it to kind of go sort of right in the middle. I don't want it too far down, I don't want it too far up, and I don't want it to be, you know, straight square, so I kind of want it at an angle. So I think probably right there would look really cute. So I'm just going to go ahead and take some hot glue. And just hot glue that down to the hat.
So here's how the wreath turned out. I hope that you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I hope you all are having a wonderful day. I wanted to thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye!